A designer worked extra hours polishing tiny details clients would never notice, but the client called her design excellent in every line. Silent effort brings loud success. If you like this story, click like and subscribe so I can serve you better. Have you ever looked at someone successful and thought, man, they've just got it all figured out? Maybe it's an artist whose work blows you away, a musician who plays flawlessly, or an entrepreneur who built an empire from scratch. We see the final product, the polished performance, the highlight reel, and we often assume it's a gift. We call it talent, genius, or just plain luck. But what if I told you that what we're really seeing isn't a gift, but a product of something much more common, much more accessible, and much more powerful: effort. Let's break this down. Think about your favorite athlete. When they score that winning goal or sink that impossible shot, it looks effortless, right? Like they were born to do it. But we don't see the thousands of hours they spent on the practice field, rain or shine. We don't see the early mornings in the gym, the missed parties, the sore muscles, the frustrating drills they repeated until they became second nature. Their victory isn't magic. It's the result of relentless, grinding, often unglamorous effort. Every single successful person, in every single field, has a similar story. Behind the curtain of their success is a mountain of hard work. The author Malcolm Gladwell famously talked about the 10,000-hour rule in his book Outliers. The idea is that it takes roughly 10,000 hours of practice to achieve mastery in a field. Now, whether that number is exact or not is up for debate, but the principle is solid. Mastery isn't handed to you on a silver platter. It's forged in the fires of dedication. It's the hours you put in when no one is watching. It's the choice to practice one more time, to read one more chapter, to write one more line of code, even when you're tired and feel like quitting. This is actually incredibly empowering news. Why? Because it means success is reserved for a chosen few who are lucky enough to be born with a special talent. Talent might give you a head start. Sure, some people might pick things up a little quicker than others, but talent without effort is like a race car without fuel. It looks impressive, but it's not going anywhere. Effort is the great equalizer. It's the one thing that's completely within your control. You can't control your genetics. You can't control where you were born, but you can always control how much effort you put in. Let's take a look at the world of creativity. We often romanticize the idea of the muse, that magical spark of inspiration that strikes an artist out of the blue. But if you ask most professional writers, painters, or musicians, they'll tell you that inspiration is a fickle friend. You can't just sit around waiting for it to show up. The real secret: showing up yourself. The legendary artist Chuck Close said, "Inspiration is for amateurs. The rest of us just show up and get to work." You get good at painting by painting, a lot. You become a better writer by writing every single day, even when the words don't flow easily. The masterpiece isn't the result of one brilliant flash of insight. It's the culmination of hundreds of small, consistent efforts. It's the sketches, the drafts, the failed attempts that pave the way for the final success. This applies to our personal lives too. Think about a strong friendship or a happy long-term relationship. Does that just happen? No. It's a product of effort. It's the effort to listen, to be present, to communicate even when it's difficult. It's the small gestures, the check-in texts, the willingness to forgive and understand. A great relationship isn't found. It's built, day by day, through consistent, conscious effort from both people. So, how do we cultivate this mindset? How do we shift from wishing for talent to committing to effort? First, we need to redefine failure. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's a part of it. Every time you try something and it doesn't work out, you're not failing, you're learning. You're gathering data. You're figuring out what doesn't work so you can get closer to what does. The only true failure is giving up. The person who succeeds is often just the person who is willing to try one more time than the person who quit. Second, embrace the process. We live in a world of instant gratification. We want results, and we want them now. But meaningful achievements take time. Fall in love with the journey, not just the destination. Find joy in the small daily improvements. Celebrate the discipline of showing up, not just the final trophy. When you learn to love the process of putting in the work, the results become a natural byproduct. The effort itself becomes rewarding. Think about learning a new language. At first, it's frustrating. You mix up words, your pronunciation is terrible, and it feels like you'll never be fluent. But if you practice for just 15 minutes every day, you start to notice changes. A week later, you can introduce yourself. A month later, you can order food at a restaurant. A year later, you might be having a simple conversation. It wasn't one heroic 8-hour study session that got you there. It was the small, consistent, daily efforts that compounded over time. This is the power of what author James Clear calls atomic habits. Small, incremental changes that, when done consistently, lead to remarkable results. The difference between who you are and who you want to be is simply what you do. It's the small choices you make every single day. The choice to exercise instead of watching another episode. The choice to practice your instrument instead of scrolling through social media. The choice to put in an extra hour of work on your passion project. None of these single actions will transform your life overnight, but over months and years, they are the very things that will. So the next time you see someone who's achieved something amazing, don't just see the talent. Look deeper. See the hours of practice, the sacrifices, the resilience, and the sheer, unadulterated effort. See their success not as something you could never have, but as a blueprint, a testament to what is possible when you decide to invest in yourself. And most importantly, apply this to your own life. What is that thing you've always wanted to do? That skill you've wanted to learn? That goal you've dreamed of achieving? Stop waiting for talent or inspiration to strike. Start today. Start small. Put in the effort. Be patient with yourself. Be consistent and embrace the journey. Because your potential isn't some fixed, predetermined thing. It's a product waiting to be built. And the primary ingredient, your effort. You have the power to build whatever you want. So, what will you start building today? Thanks so much for watching. If this video resonated with you, give it a like and subscribe for more content on personal growth and mindset. Let me know in the comments what you're committing to put effort into. I'd love to hear about it. See you in the next one.
Ever feel like your big dreams are stuck inside your small apartment? Like you have this amazing idea, but you're staring at your four walls thinking, where do I even begin? Well, let me tell you a story about a guy named Leo who felt the exact same way. He was just another recent grad, armed with a degree but no clear path, living in a tiny apartment with a balcony that was, let's be honest, mostly used for drying laundry. But that small, overlooked balcony was about to become the stage for something incredible. Leo loved bubble tea, like he was obsessed. He knew the perfect ratio of tea to milk, the exact chewiness a boba pearl should have. One sweltering afternoon, stuck in traffic, he craved a good, authentic milk tea, but the nearest decent shop was miles away. That's when the light bulb went off. What if he could bring great bubble tea to his own neighborhood? He didn't have money for a storefront or rent. All he had was his passion, his savings from part-time jobs, and that little balcony. So he started small, really small. He bought a professional sealing machine, a couple of induction cookers, and high-quality tea leaves from a supplier he found online after weeks of research. His first menu had just 3 items: classic pearl milk tea, a robust Assam black tea, and a refreshing jasmine green tea. His kitchen turned into a mini laboratory. He'd spend hours perfecting his recipes, brewing tea, cooking tapioca pearls, until they were just right soft on the outside with that perfect QQ chewiness on the inside. His friends were his first taste testers, giving him brutally honest feedback. Too sweet, one would say. Tea's a bit weak, said another. Leo listened to every single comment, tweaking and refining his process day in and day out. Finally, he was ready. He created a simple, eye-catching logo and printed out some flyers. He set up a small table on his balcony with a sign that read Balcony Bobit. To get the word out, he started an Instagram page, posting delicious-looking photos of his drinks, the steam rising from a freshly brewed pot, the glistening boba pearls. The customer was thrilled. Word of mouth is a powerful thing, especially in a tight-knit community. That first customer told their friends. They posted about this hidden gem on their social media. It was quirky, it was unique, and people loved it. The boba basket drop became a local legend. Kids would come by just to watch it. The demand exploded. Leo's three-eater menu quickly grew. He started adding fruit teas, cheese foam toppings, and seasonal specials. He sourced fresh taro from a local farm to make his own taro paste, and he used real mangoes, not syrup. This commitment to quality was his secret weapon. While other shops used powders and artificial flavorings, Leo insisted on using real, fresh ingredients. You could taste the difference. His balcony was no longer just a pickup spot. It had a few small stools and plants, becoming a tiny vertical oasis where regulars would chat while waiting for their orders. But it wasn't easy. There were days he was so exhausted he could barely stand. He was the brewer, the cashier, the delivery guy, the marketing manager, and the cleaner, all rolled into one. He'd wake up at 5 a.m. to prep his ingredients and often wouldn't finish cleaning up until after midnight. There were challenges, too. Any of these could have made him quit. He wasn't just selling drinks. He was creating small moments of happiness. After that, things went to a whole new level. It was a huge risk. He was trading his safe, low-cost balcony for rent, bills, and the responsibility of hiring staff. But he knew it was time. The grand opening was a massive success. The line stretched down the block. All his balcony regulars were there to support him, proudly telling newcomers, "We've been drinking his tea since it came down in a basket." Leo's little shop became a neighborhood hub. It was bright, welcoming, and always smelled of freshly brewed tea. He hired other young people from the community, teaching them the art of making the perfect bubble tea, passing on the passion that started it all. Leo's story isn't just about bubble tea. It's a reminder that you, Dan T, need a huge investment or a fancy office to start chasing your dream. Sometimes all you need is a small space, a big passion, and the courage to take that first step. Your balcony, whatever it may be, a corner of your room, a blog, a social media account, can be the launching pad for something amazing. It's about seeing the potential in what you have, not focusing on what you don't. It's about the grit to push through the tough days and the heart to care about what you're recreating. So, next time you feel stuck, think of Leo and his balcony boba. Start small, be authentic, work hard, and who knows, your small idea could become the talk of the town. You have the power to turn your own balcony into a business, your passion into a profession. If this story inspired you, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps me find and share more stories like this, and it means the world to me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have you ever felt that no matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to make a breakthrough? It's a story that proves small, consistent efforts can lead to incredible results. She created fun activities, used engaging materials, and always went the extra mile to help her students understand difficult concepts. Her students loved her. They felt her genuine care and dedication. But sometimes she would see a flicker of confusion on their faces when she pronounced a word. She remembered the spark in a student's eyes when they finally understood a difficult grammar point. She remembered the joy of seeing her class erupt in laughter during a fun English game. She loved teaching, and she loved her students. She couldn't let her own insecurities stand in the way of their future. That night, Miss Chen made a decision. She wasn't going to give up. She was going to fight. She couldn't change where she came from, but she could change her future. She decided she would conquer this challenge, one word at a time. Her plan was simple, yet it required immense discipline. TH. She'd whisper, sticking her tongue between her teeth, feeling the air pass through. Think TH hat, TH re. It felt unnatural, even silly at first. She felt self-conscious even though she was all alone. She'd then move on to vowel sounds, trying to distinguish between the I in ship and the E in sheep. The sounds were so similar, yet so different. The first time she listened back to herself, she cringed. Ms. Chen, you're the best teacher. One note read, I love your class, said another. These small reminders of her purpose gave her the strength to keep going. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, things began to change. She started to notice that certain words flowed more easily off her tongue. In class, she felt a new sense of confidence. She no longer hesitated before saying a tricky word. The students stopped giving her confused looks. In fact, they seemed more engaged than ever. They started participating more, raising their hands to ask and answer questions in English without fear. Her classroom became a vibrant, positive space for learning. The other teachers started to notice to the senior teacher who had made the cutting remark months earlier, approached her after a school-wide open class. Miss Chen, she said, a look of genuine surprise on her face. Your class was outstanding. Your delivery was so clear and engaging. The students are really thriving. For Ms. Chen, that compliment was more rewarding than any official praise. It was a validation of all those late nights, all that quiet, unseen effort, months turned into a year of this nightly practice. It had become a part of her life, as routine as brushing her teeth. Then came the annual school district teaching competition. Teachers from all over the city would be observed and evaluated. Miss Chen's principal encouraged her to participate. In the past, she would have shrunk from such a spotlight. The idea of being judged on her teaching and her speaking would have been terrifying. But this time was different. She felt ready. Her pronunciation was crisp, her intonation was natural, and her passion for the subject shone through every word. Her students, comfortable and inspired, participated enthusiastically. A few weeks later, at the district's annual awards ceremony, the name of the winner for the Outstanding English Teacher of the Year was announced. And the winner is Ms. Chen. As she walked onto the stage to a round of thunderous applause, Ms. Chen was overwhelmed with emotion. She looked out at the audience, at her proud husband, at her smiling principal, and at her fellow teachers who were now looking at her with respect and admiration. In that moment, she wasn't thinking about the award. She was thinking about those quiet nights in her study, the mirror, the headphones, and the whispers. She was thinking about the journey. Her story isn't just about learning to pronounce words correctly. It's a powerful reminder that true growth happens in the small, consistent moments of effort when no one is watching. It's about facing your insecurities, not by running from them, but by working on them, day by day, night by night. It's a testament to the fact that passion, combined with perseverance, is an unstoppable force. So, the next time you feel stuck or insecure about something, think of Ms. Chen. Remember that every big achievement is built on a foundation of countless small unseen efforts. Don't be discouraged by how far you have to go. Just focus on taking that next small step, on practicing for that one extra minute, on correcting that one tiny mistake, because those are the moments that truly define your journey and ultimately lead to your stage. Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content that inspires and uplifts. Your support means the world and helps me continue to share these stories with you. See you in the next video. Have you ever felt like the world was against you? Like every step forward was met with resistance? Today, I want to share a story that will remind you why pushing through those tough times is not just worth it, but absolutely necessary for achieving your dreams. It's a story about a young boy, a piano, and a dream that was almost silenced before it could even begin. This story starts in a quiet, ordinary neighborhood. In a small apartment lived a young boy named Leo. Leo wasn't like other kids who spent their afternoons playing outside. His heart belonged to the 88 keys of an old upright piano that sat in the corner of his living room. For him, it wasn't just an instrument. It was a gateway to a world of melodies and emotions. Every day, as soon as he got home from school, he would sit down and practice. His fingers, small and determined, would dance across the keys, sometimes clumsily, sometimes with surprising grace. He was learning, growing, and pouring his soul into the music. But not everyone appreciated his dedication. The walls in his apartment building were thin, and the sound of his daily practice sessions traveled. At first, it was just a few polite requests to keep it down. Can't he practice at a more reasonable hour? The complaints became a constant, discouraging drone in the background of his life. It felt like the world was telling him to quit. They tried soundproofing the room, they tried scheduling his practice times, but the complaints kept coming. Leo started to doubt himself. Was he just making noise? Was this dream of his just a selfish fantasy that was bothering everyone around him? But there were days he'd sit in front of the piano, his hands hovering over the keys, the voices of his neighbors echoing in his head, and he wouldn't play a single note. His grandfather, who was visiting, sat down next to him. He didn't say much at first. He just looked at Leo, then at the piano. They believed in themselves even when nobody else did. Greatness doesn't just happen. My boy, greatness starts with persistence. That conversation was a turning point. Those words, greatness starts with persistence, lit a fire in Leo's heart. He realized he had a choice. He could let the complaints silence his music, or he could use them as fuel. He could let the noise from the outside drown out the music from the inside, or he could play louder, not in defiance, but with renewed purpose. He chose his dream. He made a promise to himself. He would not give up. His music began to transform. The clumsy notes became confident chords. The simple melodies blossomed into complex and beautiful compositions. He wasn't just playing the piano anymore, he was telling his story through it. The very thought of it was intimidating. The boy who was once afraid of his neighbor's knocks was now thinking about performing in front of hundreds of people. The old fear crept back in for a moment. But then he remembered his grandfather's words. Greatness starts with persistence. This was his chance to prove it. The night of the competition arrived. The concert hall was packed. The air buzzed with excitement and nervous energy. Backstage, Leo could hear the muffled applause for the other performers. His heart was pounding. It was one thing to practice in his living room, but this was a real stage with real judges and a real audience. When his name was called, he took a deep breath, walked out from the wings, and stepped into the spotlight. As he walked towards the magnificent grand piano at the center of the stage, a hush fell over the audience. He sat down, adjusted the bench, and took a moment. He looked out at the sea of faces, but in his mind, he wasn't there. He was back in his small living room. He remembered the complaints, the doubt, the frustration, and then he remembered the promise he made to himself. He placed his fingers on the cool ivory keys, and then he began to play. The music that filled the hall was breathtaking. It was a piece full of passion, power, and emotion. It told a story of struggle, of doubt, but ultimately of triumph. Every note was played with a confidence and clarity that belied his age. He wasn't just playing a song, he was sharing his journey. The audience was captivated, hanging on every chord, every crescendo. In that moment, on that stage, Leo wasn't just a boy playing the piano. He was a musician, an artist who had turned resistance into resilience and noise into a symphony. When the final note faded, there was a moment of complete, profound silence. It hung in the air, thick with emotion. And then the hall erupted. The applause was deafening, a thunderous wave of appreciation and awe. People were on their feet, cheering for the young boy who had poured his heart and soul into his performance. As Leo took his bow, tears of joy streamed down his face. He had faced the world's doubts and answered them with his music. Leo's story is a powerful reminder for all of us. How many times have we let the complaints of the world stop us? It might not be noisy neighbors. It might be the voice of self-doubt in our own heads. It might be the friend who doesn't understand our ambition, the setback that feels like a dead end, or the fear of failure that paralyzes us. We all face resistance on the path to our dreams. But like Leo, we have a choice. We can either turn the volume down on our passions, or we can choose to believe in ourselves with unwavering persistence. It's about showing up every day, especially on the days you don't feel like it. It's about finding that inner reason, that why that is stronger than any obstacle. So, what is your piano? What is the passion that you are determined to pursue no matter the noise? I want you to think about that. Don't let anyone or anything silence your music. Thank you for watching and for letting me share this story with you. If it resonated with you, if it inspired you to keep going on your own journey, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support means the world to me and helps me continue to bring you stories that matter. Share your own stories of persistence in the comments below. Let's inspire each other. Remember, keep practicing, keep believing, and never ever give up. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video. The city lights flickered outside her window, each one a tiny star in the urban galaxy. But for Clara, the only light that mattered was the glow of her laptop screen. It was 3 a.m. and the world outside was asleep, but her dream was wide awake. She'd been at it for hours, her fingers dancing across the keyboard, uploading photos, writing descriptions, meticulously checking every detail. This wasn't just data entry, it was the birth of her online boutique, a dream she'd nurtured for years. Each product she uploaded was a piece of her heart, a carefully curated item she believed someone out there would love. The coffee next to her had long gone cold, and her eyes burned with fatigue, but a stubborn fire in her belly kept her going. She remembered all the times people had told her it was too risky, too difficult. The market is too crowded, they'd say. What if no one buys anything? Their doubts echoed in the quiet room, but Clara pushed them away. She believed in her vision, in the quality of her products, and most importantly, in her own hard work. Just one more collection to go. She took a deep breath, cracked her knuckles, and dove back in. As the first rays of dawn painted the sky in shades of pink and orange, Clara finally leaned back in her chair. It was done. Every single product was listed, every I dotted, every T crossed. Her online store was officially open for business. A wave of exhaustion washed over her, so profound it was almost dizzying. She stumbled to her bed, not even bothering to change, and fell into a deep, dreamless sleep. She didn't know how long she slept, but when she woke up, the sun was high in the sky. Her body ached, and her first thought was a groggy, was it all a dream? She reached for her phone, her heart pounding a nervous rhythm against her ribs. She squinted at the bright screen, her eyes slowly adjusting. And then she saw it. A notification. Not just any notification, but one from her store's app. It read, "Congratulations. You've made your first sale." Clara sat bolt upright, all traces of sleepiness vanishing in an instant. She clicked on the notification, her hands trembling slightly. There it was, in black and white, an order. Someone, a complete stranger, had seen her work, liked what they saw, and trusted her enough to make a purchase. It wasn't a huge order, just a single hand-painted mug from her new collection. But to Clara, it felt like she'd just won the lottery. A wide, incredulous smile spread across her face, followed by a laugh that bubbled up from deep inside. It was a laugh of pure, unadulterated joy and relief. All those sleepless hours, all the second-guessing, all the effort was all worth it. That one single order was the validation she needed. It was proof that her hard work hadn't been in vain. It was the universe whispering back to her, "You're on the right path. Keep going." This story isn't just about Clara and her online store. It's a reminder for every single one of us who has a dream. It's for the student pulling an all-nighter to study for an exam, for the artists spending countless hours perfecting their craft, for the entrepreneur pouring their life savings into a new venture. The journey can be lonely. The nights can be long. It's in those moments that you have to dig deep and remember why you started. You have to trust the process and believe in the effort you're putting in, because success isn't always a giant, explosive event. Sometimes it's a quiet notification on your phone at 10 a.m. It's that first small win that tells you you're doing something right. It's the proof that your dedication is creating ripples, even when you can't see them. Think about the goals you're working towards right now. Maybe you're trying to learn a new skill, get in shape, or start a project you're passionate about. It feels like a mountain, doesn't it? You look at the peak and it seems impossibly far away. But every step you take, no matter how small, is a step closer to the summit. Every late night, every early morning, every time you choose to work on your goal, instead of watching another episode of that show, all adds up. It's like building a house, brick by brick. One brick might not look like much, but eventually you'll have a home. Your effort is your currency. The more you invest, the richer your rewards will be. Don't be discouraged if you don't see results immediately. The seed you plant today won't become a tree tomorrow. It needs time, water, and sunlight. Your hard work is the water and sunlight for your dreams. Clara's story continued. That first sale was followed by another, and then another. Her small boutique began to grow. She hired her first employee. She moved from her tiny apartment into a small office space. It wasn't an overnight success story. It was a story of consistent, relentless effort. There were still challenges. There were shipping delays, difficult customers, and days when sales were slow. But Clara never forgot the feeling of that first sale. It was her anchor, the memory that kept her grounded and motivated during tough times. She knew that as long as she continued to pour her heart and soul into her work, she could overcome any obstacle. She proved to herself and to everyone who doubted her that passion combined with perseverance is an unstoppable force. So, what's the takeaway here? It's simple. Your hard work will always, always pay off. It might not be in the way you expect, and it might not be on the timeline you want, but it will bear fruit. The universe has a way of rewarding dedication. That feeling of accomplishment you get when you finally achieve something you worked tirelessly for is one of the most fulfilling experiences in life. It's a testament to your strength, your resilience, and your character. Don't let the fear of failure or the opinions of others hold you back. Your dream is yours to build. Like Clara, stay up a little later, work a little harder, and believe in what you're creating. Your first sale moment is waiting for you just around the corner. Keep pushing forward, and you will get there. Your future self will thank you for the sacrifices you're making today. This is a message I truly believe in, and seeing stories like this come to life is what fuels my own passion. Every creator, every dreamer, every person striving for something more knows this journey intimately. The path is rarely easy, but the destination is always worth the climb. Every like, every comment, and every subscription on this channel is like a first sale for me. It shows me that our community is growing, a community of people who believe in the power of hard work and positive thinking. And for that, I am incredibly grateful. So if this story touched you, or if you're on your own journey of turning a dream into reality, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Your support means the world. If you enjoyed this story and want more content that celebrates the power of perseverance and dreaming big, please hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss our next video. Remember, no matter what you're working on, your effort is never wasted. Keep believing, keep working, and you will see the rewards. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Have you ever dreamed of turning a passion into a profession? Today, I want to share a truly inspiring story about a mother who did just that, transforming her family's kitchen into a stepping stone for a bustling business. Her name is Sarah, a stay-at-home mum to 2 wonderful kids. For years, her daily routine was a whirlwind of school runs, homework help, and keeping the house in order. She loved her family dearly, but deep down, a little spark of unfulfilled ambition flickered within her. Sarah had always enjoyed cooking for her family. It was her way of showing love, but she often felt her skills were just average. She'd scroll through social media, mesmerized by beautiful food photos and intricate recipes. wondering if she could ever create something like that. One evening, after tucking her kids into bed, she stumbled upon an online cooking course. It wasn't a fancy, expensive culinary school, just a series of detailed video tutorials taught by a passionate chef. Something clicked. That night, she decided to stop wondering and start learning. So her secret nightly ritual began. After the house fell silent, Sarah would tiptoe to the kitchen, prop up her tablet, and dive into the world of gastronomy. She started with the basics, knife skills. The first few nights were clumsy. Onions made her cry, not just from the fumes, but sometimes from frustration. She learned how to properly chop, dice, and julienne vegetables until the movements became second nature. Her family started noticing the little changes. The carrots in the salad were suddenly all the same perfect size, and the stir-fry vegetables had a professional, uniform look. From there, she moved on to mastering sauces. She learned the 5 French mother sauces, the foundation of countless classic dishes. She spent an entire week just perfecting a simple bechamel, adjusting the roux, the milk temperature, and the whisking technique until it was perfectly smooth and creamy every single time. Her husband was the first to comment. One night, tasting the mac and cheese she made, he looked up from his plate, surprised, and said, "Honey, this is the best mac and cheese I've ever had." "What did you do differently?" Sarah just smiled, her little secret fueling her determination. Next came the proteins. She learned how to get that perfect crispy skin on a piece of salmon, how to braise beef until it was fall-apart tender, and how to roast a chicken so the meat was juicy and the skin golden brown. Each night was a new lesson. One night it was bread making, feeling the dough come alive under her hands. Another night, it was pasta from scratch, rolling out delicate sheets of dough that would turn into silky fettuccine. The kitchen, once just a place for daily chores, had become her classroom, her studio, her sanctuary. The more she learned, the more confident she became. She started experimenting, adding her own twists to the classic recipes. She combined the spice profiles she learned from a lesson on Indian curries with the slow cooking techniques from a lesson on French stews. Her family became her willing taste testers. The dinner table was no longer just for simple family meals. It was a nightly tasting menu. "Mom, you should open a restaurant," her 10-year-old son exclaimed one evening after devouring a plate of her homemade gnocchi with a sage butter sauce. Everyone laughed, but the idea planted a seed in Sarah's mind. The thought was exhilarating and terrifying at the same time. Her open a restaurant. She was just a mum who watched videos online. She had no business degree, no professional experience. The next few weeks were a blur of painting, cleaning, and installing kitchen equipment she bought secondhand. Her family and friends rallied around her, helping her turn the dusty little space into a cozy, welcoming eatery. She named it the Midnight Kitchen, a nod to her secret late-night studies. Her menu was small, featuring the dishes she had perfected over the past few months, the ones her family loved the most. Her star dishes were the braised beef, the crispy skinned salmon, and, of course, that legendary mac and cheese. Opening day was nerve-wracking. Sarah stood in her new kitchen, her heart pounding. What if no one came? What if they came and hated the food? The first customer walked in, a curious neighbor, then another and another. Word of mouth began to spread like wildfire. People talked about the mum who opened a restaurant with food that tasted like it was made with love. They raved about the incredible flavors and the comforting atmosphere. Within a few months, the Midnight Kitchen was the talk of the town. Every evening, the small dining room was packed with customers. There were lines out the door. Sarah had to hire a small staff to help her, other local parents looking for flexible work. She was no longer just a mum. She was a chef, a business owner, an employer, and an inspiration to her community. Her journey shows us that it's never too late to learn something new, to pursue a dream, no matter how big or small it may seem. Sarah didn't have a grand plan or a fancy degree. She just had a passion, a tablet, and the quiet hours of the night. She started with a single step learning to hold a knife. Properly, and that single step led her to a destination she had never even dared to imagine. It proves that with dedication and a little bit of courage, you can cook up a whole new life for yourself. If this story inspired you, please show your support by hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. Your encouragement helps me bring more stories like Sarah's to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.